a Christian woman who's a mu'minah. Because the verse says, marry a modest Christian woman. It doesn't say, Ahle Kitab who are modest, the complete verses. So the most of the scholars say we can marry any Christian or Jewish woman. I differ. You can marry a Christian or Jewish woman who don't do shirk. Who don't do shirk? Who doesn't do shirk? Surah Imran chapter 3 verse 110. Min humul mu'minun of samul fasikun. Among the Ahl Kitab, the Quran says, some are mu'min, but the majority perverted transgressors. If that Christian believes that Jesus is God, according to me, you cannot marry her. She should believe in one God. She should be a mu'min. So I differ. She should be a modest woman. But majority of the scholars give a blanket permission. And the reason I told you earlier why. But I believe that it should be a modest Christian woman with a mu'minah. Hope that answers the question.
But in Islam it says Muhammad is the final prophet. Please explain your justification on this.
This Muslim belief that Muhammad was the last of the prophets, meaning the last who were sent in this life. The fact that Prophet Isa is coming again doesn't change the fact that he was not the last. He was the last. He would be the last after Muhammad in the sense that he will be coming to fulfill out the end of his message. But he was actually sent before Muhammad The main portion of his message, his coming in the end, is for the signs of the last day. It's closing out the world. For his actual prophethood, that was prior to Muhammad and its prophethood ended, or its effect in the world ended at the point where they attempted to crucify him, etc. So we don't have a problem with accepting the fact that he is coming afterwards as a part of the signs of the last day, and that he, when he comes, will not be bringing a new Sharia. See, because if he were a prophet coming after, all the prophets who came one after the other, they were bringing new information, correcting what went before, etc., etc. When Prophet Isa comes, he will not be bringing a new law. He will still be ruling in accordance with the Sharia. And this is symbolized when he comes into Jerusalem and the time for prayer comes, and the Mahdi will be there. He was stepping forward to pray. Then when he realized that Prophet Isa is there, Prophet Jesus is there, he is stepping back to allow Prophet Jesus to go and lead the prayer, and Prophet Jesus insists that he go ahead and lead the prayer. That was symbolizing that he is coming within that same framework. He will make Hajj and do the other things which we know from Islam. So he's not bringing anything new. What he will correct will be the false beliefs of Christians, right? Because he will be the final proof that what they taught, the cross, that's why we talked about, the Prophet ﷺ said it would break the cross, and kill the swine which has now become a norm for the vast majority of Christians, not realizing that in fact it was prohibited, and Jesus himself never ate it, etc. So he will come and correct that was all false teachings. So that's what he corrects. But he doesn't come and bring a new Sharia. So we don't have any contradiction between the two.
Sister asked a question, the non-Muslim sister asked a question that she agrees about the modesty of covering the head. She does not understand the reason for Naqab, what is there. And regarding the modesty and covering the hair, you find, besides in the Quran and the Sahih Hadith, you find several references in Hindu scriptures as well as the Christian scriptures. If you refer to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter number 22, verse number 5, as well as the 1 Timothy, chapter number 2, verse number 19, as well as the 1 Corinthians, chapter number 11, verse number 5 to 7, speak in detail about the hijab. And it says in 1 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse number 7 to 11, that a woman that does not cover her head when she prays, then she dishonors her head, and her hair should be shaved off. So the Bible is stricter than the Quran. Nowhere does the Quran say that the head should be shaved off, she doesn't cover the hair. As far as the main question regarding Naqab, that what is the purpose of Naqab, and again, as far whether Naqab is fard or not, the difference of opinion between the scholars, when Naqab is fard or not. The most of the scholars agree Naqab is fard, according to Sheikh Nasruddin Albani. Naqab is not a fard, it is mustahab, it's not a fard. And I also agree with the view of Sheikh Nasruddin Albani, where he gives his logical proof by quoting Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim and various hadith and the verse of the Quran, that no verse of the Quran says that the Naqab is fard. Though do scholars do try and prove from Surah Nur chapter 24 verse number 31 and from Surah Ahzab chapter 33 verse 59 about the fard of Naqab, but I do agree with the way Sheikh Nasir Albani puts it, that Naqab is not fard. And the thing is what I say, that if you feel that you go to a place where people are staring at you and you feel Naqab is a fard, you wait, alhamdulillah. But if you feel it's not required, if you don't know, it's not a fard according to me. Though there are scholars who say that wearing Naqab is fard, I like to make it very clear. So what they say that, fine, I do agree that if you wear a Naqab, so there will be less evil eyes on you. So the basic thing is, you have to identify yourself how secure lock you want to put. For example, if you are living in a city where robbery is not common, you just close the door and put a normal lock. If you know you're, say, in a city where there is robbery is excessive, then you buy a lock which may cost maybe $10,000, to secure it. So I feel the option is yours. If you feel you're living in a society where you feel you have to cover your face, alhamdulillah, go ahead, don't stop it. I wouldn't want any of the ladies who are covering their face should remove the Naqab. It's good, mashallah, it's not bad. But regarding the hukum, whether it's fard or not, there's difference of opinion. I agree more with Sheikh Nasir Albani. So here, if you feel it's required, if you feel it's not required, yet if you agree with Sheikh Nasir Albani, and if you don't cover your face, I feel it's fine. Hope that's the question.
Actually, this question was answered in my lecture yesterday concerning who created Allah. We say that on one hand, it's a ludicrous question because the concept of Allah or the concept of God is one without a beginning. So once you start speaking about who created him, meaning he didn't have a beginning, it's a contradiction in terms. And Aristotle had argued logically, many thousands of years ago, that there must be a God because of the fact that you can't keep going backwards infinitely. Meaning that, okay, if Allah created, who created him, there was another Allah who created him, and there was another God who created him, and another God who keep going backwards. Gods creating, none being the God because they were themselves created, meaning that you keep going backwards and backwards and backwards. If this goes back infinitely, as those who claim this do, then it's the same as saying there is no beginning. This is what Aristotle was arguing, that our very presence and existence here today is proof that there was a beginning. And the one who began all of this had to himself not have a beginning. Otherwise, he would be a part of the same process, and there would be no beginning. So, the one who begins has to himself not have a beginning so that the whole process can start and continue.
I'd like to know if you can explain verse 62 from Surah Al-Baqarah, please. Verse 62 from Surah Al-Baqarah.
Brothers asked me to explain Surah Baqarah chapter 2 verse 62. But I'm not Hafizul Quran, but I know what you're referring to. People think I'm Hafizul Quran. They just say which person Zakir Naik will say. I'm not Hafizul Quran. But I know you're referring to a verse of the Quran which says that as to those who are Christians, who are Jews, who are Sabians, as long as they believe in Allah and they believe in the last day, they shall go to paradise. This is the nutshell what he's referring to, which is also repeated in Surah Ma'idah chapter number 5. He wants me to explain what does it mean. Does it mean that, okay, fine, if you're a Christian or if you're a Sabian or if you're a Jew, if you believe in God, it's sufficient to go to Jannah. If you see the context of the revelation of this verse of the Quran, if you read Ibn Qasir, it says when people approached the Prophet and they asked him that, we have been Christians, we have been Jews, we have been Sabians. Are there any chance for us to go to Jannah? It does not mean that, fine, you remain what you are and you believe in Allah and go to Jannah. That means not believing in Prophet Muhammad is sufficient. It does not mean that. It means that whatever you're doing in the past, as long as today if you have faith, if you have belief, you believe in Allah and the hereafter. Believe also includes believe in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So believe in Allah the way Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it means you have to believe in the Quran and believe in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also. Then inshallah go to paradise. And there are various cross references. How to go to Jannah? Go to Surah Asr, chapter number 103, verse 1 to 3, which says, Wal Asr.